As I discussed in a video last week, I feared that the Vision Pro would deliver an aspirational experience. According to some reviews I watched this morning, including the review from Nilay Patel at The Verge, which feels like the most complete rundown, the Vision Pro feels, in their words, like magic until it isn't. So what do they mean by that? I'll leave a link to their video down in the description, but here are the Cliff's Notes so we can move forward. What it can do is often very impressive, but the illusion very quickly falls apart, leaving the user feeling kind of let down and showing exactly how hard, maybe impossible, the job the Vision Pro is trying to do actually is. Let me say first, again, that I do not want the Vision Pro to fail. I am an Apple fanboy, as many people often try to tell me, and I've always been excited by the cutting edge of tech, especially Apple's take on the cutting edge of tech. But as I laid out in that video last week that you can find in a link somewhere around someplace, I had my fears, and some of those fears seem to have come to pass, maybe even worse than I feared. Here are 3 reasons that I think the Vision Pro could and maybe will fail. Reason number 1, and this is the most practical but also the most surface level reason, the physical form of goggles that try to create reality inside of reality always entail. The Vision Pro is everything we feared it might be. It is physically heavy, over 600 grams, about the weight of an iPad Pro 11-inch. Patel mentioned more times than I was really comfortable with in somebody who, I mean, I don't care about my hair, so maybe it matters to other people, but he mentioned every time that he discussed putting it on that it will mess up your hair, no matter how you put it on. And then there's the 2 hours of battery life. Even though it's the most sensitive an advanced headset out there in terms of sensors, cameras, that kind of thing, it can't always sense your hands. Like if you put your hands underneath the desk, then you'll lose your hands. They have to be in view of the sensors for the hands to really work. And Patel did say that if you're someone who talks with their hands, then you'll be moving things all over your virtual screen all the time. They have to be in view of the cameras. Even then, it's not as accurate and intuitive as it needs to be. Your hands are the main interface by which you use the device, and judging by what I've seen and heard in the various reviews and product demos, the interface is not entirely ready for prime time. Vision Pro is basically a computer on your face. And if your computer peripherals disconnect every time your hands are like out of sight of the cameras, that's not good. I mean, think about it this way. Think about how frustrating it is when your Bluetooth keyboard or mouse or whatever disconnects from your computer and you're shaking it and you have to change the battery or charge it, whatever it is. Imagine that happening all the time and with no way to actually fix it. And even if Apple eventually gets hand tracking perfect, people, do you really want your computer tracking everything that you do with your hands while using the computer? Patel mentioned this, and yeah, I hadn't really thought about it that way, so your mileage may vary. Think about it for a second. And that's what Vision Pro wants to be. It's a version of your computer on your face. And it tries to make it look like your face is visible through the lenses and all that kind of stuff. But it's really just a weird recording of your face doing what the Vision Pro thinks your face is doing behind the goggles. In the ads, Apple makes it look like you're looking at people and interacting with people in the room. But the reality is that it's just those pictures of your eyes, and you can only see them through the pass-through lenses. The Vision Pro doesn't actually like clear up, and then you can see out. And then there's the fact that you can't wear glasses with Vision Pro. This is the first VR, AR, whatever headset that I've heard of that you can't wear glasses. In order to use Vision Pro, if you wear glasses, you have to get lens inserts with your prescription, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's probably a better solution than wearing your glasses. It's never comfortable. I've used probably half a dozen or more VR headsets in the past year or so, and it's never comfortable with the glasses. So even though it's a better experience, perhaps, it's an additional cost to the $3,500 base price. Fail point number 2 is going to be the software. For all the Vision Pro's impressive tech, reports indicate that the end product is not everything that it needs to be to compete with Apple's other computer products, let alone maybe some of the other products that are out there in the VR AR space. Apple has described the Vision Pro's Vision OS as a version of iPad OS that's been adapted for spatial computing. And that in and of itself works for me because iPad OS is still kind of a half-baked version of iOS that has never really felt like an improvement to the iPad's functionality, in my estimation. I just don't like it. There are still a lot of issues that have plagued VR headsets from the beginning as well. Even though the displays are extremely high resolution, the Vision Pro still suffers from fringing around the edges and a limited field of view, about 110 to 120 degrees, which leaves pretty significant borders around your eyes. It looks like goggles inside there. One of the killer apps that has been advertised, or at least one that I was the most excited for with the Vision Pro, has been the ability to have your Mac there, but then to extend your Mac screen into the virtual space and have all kinds of different screens around you. But apparently, you can only extend your Mac monitor one time. And so you only get one monitor if you're using your Mac, and it's sort of locked to a certain aspect ratio, which kind of destroys one of the big use cases I had for the device. Maybe this is a limitation that is not going to be around forever, but it does make me kind of glad that I didn't order one. As I feared, many of these reviews say that the software works best in the entertainment apps that have been augmented to work with Vision Pro. Disney has 3D capabilities, and you can watch movies in a virtual space and sort of pick the kind of world that you're watching in and that kind of thing. And there's a level of fidelity overall that would be really hard to replicate in the physical world. But that experience is still limited to Apple's apps and the few others that have adopted the Vision OS format. Will others join? Yes, certainly. Netflix is being persnickety about it, but they'll be there eventually, et cetera, et cetera. But at this point, the Vision Pro sounds like a very expensive TV for one. And honestly, who really wants to watch TV alone? At least enough to spend the kind of money that Apple's asking. You can get a hell of a good TV for $3,500. And unless you live alone, and you will always live alone, some kind of hermit out there in the wherever you are, the trade-off of watching these great things by yourself just doesn't seem like the best trade-off to have. Finally, I want to talk about what I fear will be the ultimate downfall of the Vision Pro. The overall experience, the experience that Apple wants to create, but to this point seems not to have created, and maybe they won't ever be able to create it at all. The Vision Pro wants to create an augmented version of reality inside of the unit. This has always been a problem with technology, the concept of the Uncanny Valley. The Uncanny Valley is a theory that describes the connection between how a similar object is to a human being in the real world and the emotional response that it evokes and how it looks in something that is artificial. And the Vision Pro seems to not be able to get through that uncanny valley unscathed. All the things that I've talked about so far, all of the hardware things, all of the software things, any little thing that knocks you out of the experience tends to deepen that uncanny valley. Does the Vision Pro have the potential to exit the uncanny valley and create a reality-like experience that's inside of the headset? Yes, I mean, it has a chance, and Apple has the resources to make it happen. But so far, the news isn't good for the Vision Pro. The Vision Pro wants you to believe that what you experience inside the headset is part of reality, or at least an augmented reality-like experience. And every VR headset has had this problem since the dawn of VR headsets, AR headsets. They all have limitations that break the illusion, whether it's the fringing of around the lenses or screen door effect or hands disappearing or weird looking, not quite human-like avatars that are supposed to look like you that only kind of look like you, or not fulfilling what you expect it to do when you interact with it. like extending your computing space into the virtual space outside of the physical bounds of what your computer actually is. These early reviews actually brought out more questions and concerns than I had before, instead of making me see limitations but a road to the future for the Vision Pro. Now I'm asking myself if it will ever be possible to pay off the promise that Apple has sort of shown us with what the Vision Pro hopes to be. It seems incredibly far away right now. If any company can pull it off, it's Apple. They've changed the way we live with tech and how it integrates with us many times before. But the more Vision Pro becomes a reality, the more it becomes apparent that Apple's attempt at recreating that reality inside of a headset has a long way to go, and we're kind of in the beta stages right now. Will we be able to reach that promise? I don't even know. Is it even possible? Do I want them to succeed with this? Again, yes, I want Apple to succeed. I love the idea of the Vision Pro. I love what it represents in terms of maybe a paradigm shift in computing. But given these reports coming out in these first reviews, it has a long way to go. And I would say anyone who has to this point spent $4,000 or so, including tax and lenses, et cetera, is probably sitting there watching these initial reviews thinking, should I cancel my order? It doesn't seem like the Vision Pro is even close to what it promised to be as I thought it would be. And that's concerning because this is a big item for Apple. Apple has put a lot of resources in this, and Tim Cook has basically sort of banked his tenure on the success of this device, and now I have really grave concerns. What do you think, though? Can Apple pull this off? Is it worse or better than you thought it would be given the early reviews? Did you order a Vision Pro? Are these reports kind of making you have second thoughts or third thoughts or fourth thoughts? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video out with all of your friends so that they too can join the conversation about whether or not the Vision Pro may actually fail. It's a conversation worth having. Until the next time, I'm out.